Hi, my name is Cindy Rang with the Fabric Patch in Ephrata, Washington, and I'm out at the event center, and we have a fantastic trunk show for you today. So those of you guys who know who we are know that my daughter and I have a quilt shop in Central Washington State. We've been there for 23 years, and for the last 7 years we've had a retreat center. So we actually have a large one that sleeps 16 with a really large sewing area. We have a second one that sleeps 10, and very soon, I think at the end of summer, we'll actually have a third. All of them together are on this little half block complex, and that's where we are today. So what we have is I have a friend that is here. I'm going to introduce to you in a minute, but I just wanted you to see we've got a bunch of her quilts all out here. She's going to show you each of them, talk to you about the patterns and how she's come up with her ideas. And for those of you guys that know Carolyn Hutchinson, she used to work here. She was one of our employees for, gosh, 5 or 6 years, and an instructor. She did most of the beginning quilting classes, and she's been a pattern designer for a long time. Now she lives over in Boise. She teaches over there. But what's really nice is she was here this weekend and she did a retreat. She's going to do a retreat next year also. We'll have information on that. And we're actually going to start, I'm going to introduce you to Carolyn, and we're going to start with what she did this weekend. All right, so this is my friend Carolyn. It's been so good to have her here for the weekend. She had 22 women out here. That was really nice. They were here for 4 days, 5 days, 4 nights. And this was what you did. So this is called the Magic Series. Magic Series.
It's a series of 7 right now quilts. I have 3 more coming. What happened was I found a quilt that I really liked. But when I saw how they put it together, I thought, oh, that's way too hard. I can figure out an easier way. And I've always said there's a fine line between laziness and efficiency. I'm not sure which I am, but if there's an easier way to do something, I'm going to find it. So I looked at the quilt and studied it, and I thought, okay, if I take a 2.5-inch piece of fabric and a 5-inch piece, sew them together, then make half square triangles out of them, it's going to come out to this block that made the quilt. What happened was a mistake. It didn't come out like the quilt even close, but it ended up giving you a block that looks like this and one that looks like this at the same time.
And if you zoom in on this, Brianna, can you see? So here's one, and there's a little kind of cornery half square triangle down here, and then here's another one, and it is like
a Z.
A Z.
Yeah.
Right. So you ended up with all these blocks.
Yeah. And so it was totally different than I expected, and it took me a while to figure out why I even got 2 different things. It just didn't seem logical.
Yeah.
So then I'm stuck with all these blocks, so I had to play with them until I got them in some sort of design, and it became what I called Windfarm.
And I have to tell you for just a minute, I remember when this was happening, yes. Because at the time she still worked at the shop and she brought these blocks, and my mind is very different, and it's like, start over. You know, it didn't even occur to me that all of these blocks that you were going to turn into something not just fantastic, but truly, I think you're right, magical, because all of these quilts back here are that one technique. Right. So when they were out here this weekend, these 22 women all did the same thing, but depending upon what they did with their blocks, you would never ever guess that they're all the same. Yeah. So all of these are the same. So and then what you did with your patterns, because we also need to mention that you can buy Carolyn's patterns in one of 2 ways. We have her pattern, so if you're ordering some fabric and you want something, then add that to your cart and we'll send it. If you prefer PDF or there isn't anything else you want, Carolyn's Etsy site is Carolynsinstitches.
Yes.
Maisie is excited about that. Carolynsinstitches, and Brianna will put that below. And so what you can do is you can also order direct from her, either way. And we'll have the front and the back so you can pick out your fabric, because that's the other thing, is depending upon what you're doing, instead of, because I think it would almost have to be a book, wouldn't it? I mean, if you put all of them in there, this is how you make the quilt and all of those things, so that you're not confused. Each pattern
is separate.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. So this one is Windfarm.
This one is Boxes and Bows.
And again, so let's point out, here is here's the first block.
But this is the second one.
And that's the second
So
one.
I've sorted them out, and now this is 4 of the same, and this is 4 of the same. The thing that happened on this one, which again I was still experimenting, this is all one fabric line, but this is so close to this that you really don't see a difference. And when you switch that to a different fabric, totally different look.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, that's right, because these are 2 different fabrics.
Yeah.
But it's not going to read that way in the camera probably.
No.
All right, Boxes and Bows.
So this is the same, except I kept playing what if.
Yeah.
So this one, instead of using just a light, a dark, and a medium, this one has 2 lights. This is a different one than this, and then 2 darks, this one and this. You get a totally different look again.
So here is 1 block, and here is 1 block.
Yeah, made out of 4 of the pieces.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and that one's called Reflections.
Reflections. And this one.
This one's one of my favorites, but I'm not sure whether it's because of the pattern or because it's got this minky on the back.
Minky on the back. I love the colors.
Yeah.
So this is, oh, I see it. Oh gosh, isn't that funny? So almost the same, just flipped around a little bit different. So this is 1 block.
Right.
This is the second one.
Right.
That you get, and so there's 4, and there's
And this
4.
one has 2 darks and 2 lights. And then I set it with sashing just to set it off and give it another look.
A lot of the gals at the retreat this weekend made this one.
Yeah.
Wait till you see them at the end. Julie Phipps's, and they're beautiful.
And when we get around to the other side, this sashing is, I taught this technique that's in Simply Sashing, so you can use it with any, but it's just a technique so that they all come out perfect. Instead of doing this as one piece and hope for the best. So if you get this one off, the rest of them are off. This one, it comes out perfect every time.
Oh, they were talking about your sashing technique. I'm not sure I don't know it.
Well, when I first discovered it, people would come to the shop and they'd ask me, and so I try and draw it out and they just look, glazed. So that's why I wrote the pattern. There's nothing.
So your technique is in that pattern.
It's in this one, and Simply Sashing has it for every size block.
Okay.
All the calculations.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that again as we come around and see that one.
This one is Unhinged, which again, same block, totally different look.
Okay,
this
so let's
time
look
I
again.
used
So
3
here's
different prints.
one of them.
Right?
Yeah, and here's the other one. Oh,
But by changing out and using them diagonally with 3 different prints and the same background. And this one uses the accent strip on a background piece or a background piece on the accent.
Wow.
This one has been really popular.
Yeah. That one.
And this is not just a baby version of Unhinged.
Cute. So each pattern has how many sizes?
All of these are, I think all of them are either crib or baby, all the way through king.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
I try to do that with everything now because people come back and say, can you figure that for me in a queen? So now I just do it.
Yeah.
This is just to show you that this is leftovers from Unhinged, put together differently.
Yeah.
But because of the way you put your blocks, you have some leftovers, so I just put them in a table runner in a different pattern.
Gosh, that's cute.
And this is where I was playing what if, instead of the 5-inch strip, I did it out of a jelly roll.
Oh, so it's just a scrappy.
Yep, just a scrappy, same block though, done with jelly roll instead of a 5-inch.
And which one is that? What pattern essentially is that?
This one?
Yes.
That doesn't have a name yet because it's not finished.
Ooh.
See,
Oh,
just
coming soon.
yeah, that's what's coming soon.
Love it.
Oh. Except Brianna noticed that there wasn't a...
Yeah.
Sorry. I should be taking them, but we have quilts that direction.
This one took me forever to figure out. It was just one of those math challenges for a while because as I did that block and I kept getting the same thing, they're a little bit different where your points come together, and I wanted them to be smooth. So I finally got it figured out, but what happens is when you make this one, you only use half of the block, and what you have left over makes this one. So you get a twofer instead of cutting them exactly, cutting them down the middle. You sew down the middle so it makes a big block and a little block. And then you can make this one out of the big blocks, and you have enough leftovers to do this or boxes and bows. Yeah.
Sure.
But the funny thing is, when you cut this block, you can't make a smaller one of this. The other half is still different size.
So
and it doesn't
weird.
come- yeah.
It really is magic. Some
Yeah.
sort of quilting physics.
Something.
All right. All right. So were you saying that you had others? You have 3 more coming in
I
that
have 3
series?
more that are in the works. Totally different from any of these. Very modern, very graphic, and I did them in black and white. So they're very...
I feel like I saw the drawings for one
Yeah.
of those. Yeah,
Yeah.
very different. So kind of a fun thing that if you like that block and what happens is kind of good to know. And then the one that you have the preview of that will be coming soon. So
Well, and I think I have a picture of it. One of the gals was making hinged, but instead of making 2 piles, she got them mixed up and did the same block on all of them. So we ended up with a new quilt. Totally different from any of these.
See, there
So
you go. There
It's
you
like,
go.
oh, okay, well,
That's fun.
let's make it work.
Creative adventures. And, you know, in case I don't mention this at the end, I meant to mention it in the beginning. Carolyn is also, I mean, she's a very, very good speaker, and she's a very good teacher, and she's very creative. And how many patterns do you have? Lots.
34
34 currently.
and about 20 in the works.
Oh, yeah. Way more in your brain
Yeah.
than you
Oh,
have
yeah.
time to test. And Carolyn was always our pattern tester, and so her patterns are perfect. They really are. I mean, it's funny, all
Well,
of
we
the
strive.
weird, oh no, hers are very, very good. Easy to understand, the math is right, it's all good, it's been tested multiple times. So what I was gonna mention too is that if you have a quilt show coming up, if you have a guild meeting and you're looking for a featured quilter or a speaker, somebody to come and do classes, I know she is available and she does that and is willing to travel. So we'll also, Carolyn's in Stitches, what is your email address?
Carolynsinstitches@gmail.com.
There you go, at gmail.com. And she's in Boise.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this one.
Okay, so my daughter has a vintage camper, and so I found this fabric with the vintage camper trailers.
No longer available.
Sorry. Yes. And so I thought I have to make her a quilt out of this for her. So I was playing with the design, and this is what I came up with. But when I went to write it, I thought, oh, there's better ways to do this. So then I changed it out to make it much easier to put together so that all the sizes came together, and the blocks on this one could be from a charm pack if you wanted to, or if you had leftover 5-inch squares. And then the migrating geese are a better size, so it came out perfect rather than having to piece it here at the end. This happens to be my grandson, who is 2 in these pictures and is now 4, the light of my life. But anyway, so then when I did this one, I thought, oh, it'd really be fun to have pictures of him at the Oregon coast where we go every August. And so that's what these are. But these are 10-inch square photos. And I had those printed from Spoonflower, since you can't do that large a photo on the... But it also can be used with a panel. And both this one and the one next to you are done with a panel, same pattern, this one with batiks. And this one I had one of the gals test. Normally what I do is design the pattern, write it up, have somebody proofread the written copy, then I have it tested, and I usually use somebody that isn't real experienced at quilting, because I don't want somebody that's quilted
Already
for
knows
20
what you
years.
mean.
They don't read it.
Right.
They just look at them.
Don't. That's me.
Yeah.
I see what you did. I can make that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why mine came out a different
I
size.
have to keep finding people that will actually read it and see if it's clear. Because my pet peeve is to pick up a pattern that somebody's written and you know it wasn't tested because the measurements aren't right.
Right.
So one of the gals that was here this weekend, Sherry Baker, did this one for me.
Beautiful.
And did a great job. This panel I fell in love with.
You
And
Are
actually,
Loved is the name of it.
It's just so cute.
It is.
It doesn't photograph very well. I don't know whether
Probably
you can zoom on
not.
that,
You probably
'cause
can't
it's so
see.
pale.
Yeah, because there's a little chick and a lamb and a llama, and it probably is not going to come up quite right, but it's beautiful. Nice to see in a nice soft color. We've moved a little bit, but what was the name of this one?
This is Happy Dance.
Happy Dance.
Yeah.
Happy Dance. And sizes?
It's written for the throw all the way through king.
Okay.
The throw is the only one I have in there with the 10-inch blocks, but this block is replaced with 2 of these or 3 geese. So you can put as many pictures or panel pieces as you want.
So if you end up getting a panel and it has 6 or 8, you can just...
You can do whatever. You can do... It just replaces 2 of these and 3 of these. And that's why I rewrote the sizes so you could
She's
do that.
the math queen.
Well,
Yeah. And then this one, as you're talking about this, I don't know if you, because when you did this trunk show the other night, you didn't mention this, because this is a panel that you cut up.
yes.
So you guys need to see this up close. So this, all of these little sections in here is one of those Northcott panels that's so beautiful, and she just cut it into squares, which is so beautiful because you really see that whole, the bottom of the trees, the middle of the trees, and the top. It's a gorgeous panel, no longer available, so super sorry we're pointing out how cool it is, but Northcott does this kind of thing a lot. This would be fairly easy to recreate, and what's this one called?
This one's called Reframed. Actually, framed looks very similar to this, except it's focus fabric, and it's made out of a layer cake. It is my first published pattern, and it is still #1 selling.
We sell that all the time.
Very versatile, very easy. I use it to teach my beginning class, but then and it really is designed for a layer cake, and the blocks move, so directional fabric, I just tell them they have to get over it.
Yeah.
Because they go every which way in the fabric. So I finally broke down, and I thought I'd make an addendum to it, but it was more complicated than that.
Right.
So I wrote this one called Reframed to do the panels or directional fabric so that it would always come out, and this one takes the guesswork out of it. It's almost a quilt by number. This one, as I did the panel, as she said, I just chopped it up. But when I went to put it together, can you zoom in on this square? These are doves flying. This one got turned around, so I almost called it Hunter's Delight. He's doing a dive. So this one is called Baby Steps. It's a great one if you need a quick baby quilt gift or just a throw for somebody, because you use big strips and it's full with the fabric. So this is the one I started with. I made this for my grandson before he was born, because these are the exact colors that she had in the nursery. So when I found that fabric, I had to make something up. So this is what happened. And then people started asking me for a bigger size, so I calculated it. This one almost got the best of me, which looks, I'm sure, kind of funny why it would be difficult, but I didn't want any of these pieces to have to be pieced. I wanted it to be a full strip.
40 inches here. Sure. Yeah.
So to not run into that, this is as big as you can go without having to piece. And so this one is a small twin.
But we tell people a lot, you know, people ask about that all the time. It's like, well, how do I turn that into a queen? Borders.
Yeah.
Borders. Because this will sit on the top of your bed, and then you'll have borders. And I would just say, too, think about some interesting way to add borders, because if you really need, Lisa was in the shop the other day, and she needed to turn a quilt into a queen, and we calculated that she needed 30 inches worth of width and length.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, that's okay. That's 15 inches on both sides. That's 3 borders. Absolutely doable. It will look like it was always meant that to be that. So if you do want to turn this into a queen, you'll have to do a little bit of math, go into your local quilt shop. That's why we want to support our local quilt shops, is because they will help you with your math.
Yeah.
Or we will, you know. Call us if you don't have a local quilt shop. But
so this was the one that I had a pattern tester test the pattern, and then this is just another sample of the
smaller
throw size.
Perfect.
And this one was made out of all leftovers from another quilt.
Gosh, that's beautiful.
Because if you have a 6-inch strip,
Sure.
you're good to go. But this one I made for me.
Yeah.
This belongs on my couch.
And it has, of course, Minky
course
on the
it
back,
has.
of course.
Have you seen the movie Sisterhood?
Yeah.
The Traveling Pants. Yes. That was what gave us the idea to do this quilt. I have 3 sisters by birth, and I have 3 by choice. And so when one of them had a tragedy in the family, the other 3 of us got together and we put this quilt together with our sandal sister, that's what we call each other, and some scripture verses and things throughout. And then people wanted to know how to make the quilt. So I made that pattern. This one we just circulate from one of us. Yeah, we really don't want to see it come, because it's usually... But the other thing I was going to say, if you see this, this is a good example of read the instructions when you use inkjet prints on fabric, because I did not do it correctly, and so it bled.
But
all of
shadowed.
this, actually that's tears that made it do that. So we've all shed some tears on that. But I really like it in the light colors. But often people will ask for something they can do for a man, or more masculine colors. And Maywood Studio does amazing flannel. And so this is the Sisters pattern done in a twin size. It's 1 layer cake and 1 yard of fabric.
And we have a sample of this in the shop and in some flannels, in the Maywood flannels. And people will look at this and they'll pick up a jelly roll, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
It's a layer cake.
Yep.
But it's just the way that she cuts it. But it is a super fast pattern.
Yep.
One of our best sellers.
Yep.
It does really well.
This one is one of my favorites. Somebody asked me, several people have asked, if I ever stopped thinking about this. And I said no. So this one actually came to me in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep. And I thought, what if I took a layer cake and cut it this way and then cut it that way and put it back together? What would it look like? So I got up the next day and I cut up a layer cake and I cut it
This way and
this
then I
way
cut it
and
that
then that way. And this is what you end up with just a plain
beautiful.
sashing. So this is just one layer cake and some sashing. And I did not put borders on this, but I've taught this in the class and have seen it made with borders to make it larger.
And this could be, gosh, you could just imagine too, if this were, you know, pastels and something dark or something black, they would all look so different, which is why it's always fun to do something in a class or in a retreat.
And people always look at this and say, oh, I see that block. And I said, no,
that's not
block. No, this is the block.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to do and quick.
Yeah.
And the other thing we can notice in the camera is the binding is strip piece.
Yeah, it's all leftover. I like to do strippy bindings. And so you have some pieces left over, and I just took those strips and put the sashing in between them and made the binding.
Yeah.
And
super
this
cool.
quilt, if you can zoom in, this one is absolutely Maisie approved.
Right? She loves it. Right? The better.
Oh, I like that one. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
This one is called Ferris Wheel, and the other part to this is hanging in the shop in Boise because I'm going to teach this class. But if you can see this is a picture of the original, because this one and this one, this is a twin, this is a big crib, and it's all out of one layer cake of printed fabric and a layer cake of background. And then sashing and borders. But this is, you can do it in the negative or positive. So this original one is done in the positive, and then this one's done in the negative with the layer cake behind and the background.
And I think that this is that showing up very well in the camera?
It's
Probably
really
because it's very
pale.
pastel, but it is a shoe fly block with a pinwheel in the inside. So it really is a very sweet block, and I don't know but maybe this
And
you
this
can see a little
one
bit better,
shows-
because here you can see the positive and the negative. So here you can maybe see a little bit better.
Yeah. Super fast. Each block just takes 2 10-inch squares, so you can make it out of your stash, leftovers,
Very
whatever.
nice. I love this one.
This is Flying South, and this originally,
Oh, there's a goose on it.
it came up,
What is
it's
it?
a feather out of my pillow on my bed. They shed all the time.
Flying south, and there's a feather on that.
It's been there. That's one of Winston's favorite things to do, is go in and pull all the feathers out of it.
We have some pillows just like that,
This is
hilarious.
Flying South. Originally, I taught this at the Fabric Patch, and we used the cake mix
Yes,
papers. And they're really clever. I think they're a whole lot more work than just doing it. So I wrote the pattern to just do it as half square triangles. But it does take a layer cake for this size.
And that's fantastic, because it's just the little half square triangles and the big ones. And
Yeah.
I love the way that you've organized, the darks and the mediums. And that's just
And
a
it's
beautiful
written for
quilt.
multiple sizes.
Sure.
This one is called Rhapsody, and it uses a jelly roll and then 2 coordinating fabrics. Really quick and easy. It comes in multiple sizes. And I love blue.
Very nice. It was funny, the gals have showed up to do the cleaning, after the retreat, and opened the back door. And there's, I think Brianna did a pan around, I think there's 30 quilts in here, and Marcia says, ooh, I love that blue quilt. Which, I just want to point out, it's oftentimes, for somebody who doesn't quilt, it's about the color.
Yeah.
It's about the color. We tell people all the time, it's like, don't, kill yourself finishing some applique. This took me 3 years. It's the color and the fabric that does a lot of the work for you. So kind of nice, because this is a very simple,
Very simple.
easy, very fast.
simple. One big block done with
It's all about the color.
jelly roll.
All right, this next one.
This is one that I did for actually the one behind it I'll show you, is one I did for a baby quilt for a gal that hadn't decided what she wanted in her nursery. She just knew she liked big floral. But after I got it done, we got this panel in the shop, which probably is out of print.
Sure,
But
yes, don't look for that.
they always have new ones in that.
Yes.
So I wanted to do it using a panel, and then again, just big strips, so you don't have to cut down your fabric that you don't want to.
This one is also
Get rid of.
Maisie approved. She was.
Yeah. And this is the
Look how
original.
different, sure.
Yeah.
So
Totally
just a
different.
focus piece of fabric
Focus.
instead of
A panel.
And you know, that's one of those funny things. We've talked about that a lot, even with some of our fabrics and our patterns. That if you don't have a panel that will work, find some really cool all over print that goes with the line, and it looks just as lovely.
And this is just one you don't want to cut down into little bitty pieces. So
that's right.
It's a good way to
Yeah, that's really pretty.
use it.
Yeah,
So.
really nice. All right, let's walk over this way.
You ready?
Okay, this is the Simply Sashing that we talked about over there. It's
That
just-
has that trick
Yeah.
for how to make sure
Right.
that they come out
That they
perfect. Okay.
always come out
Because this would
perfect.
be a pattern that somebody might not pick up thinking, oh, it's just blocks and
It's just
sashing.
charm pack.
But what's interesting about it is the trick. Okay,
Yes,
that's good
and
to know.
it's written to calculate what your sashing should be for every size.
awesome.
So the math is already done for you. So the pattern really is just how to assemble that and how to cut it
Perfect.
for any size block so you can use it on any quilt.
Perfect.
This one is called Roundup, and it's just one that while we kept getting all those little mini charms, and I didn't always know what to do with them, so I did this one out of 2 mini charm packs and some 6-inch blocks.
Perfect.
And it's written for all the way to king.
For the math, so you
Yes.
know what to.
Now, this is the only size that uses the itty bitties.
Sure.
But the other ones are calculated out.
Sure. This is another top seller in our shop. So this is just the smaller version, but maybe we can insert a picture because you didn't bring one of the big ones, did you?
No, it's hanging on the wall, ceiling
yeah.
height at
Well,
the shop.
Yeah.
This one is called Dresden Wreath, and the original queen size quilt is called Jelly Roll Dresden. And the Jelly Roll Dresden takes 1 jelly roll and then background fabric, and it makes this huge queen size. And it's really fun to do, very easy. I've had beginners do it in a class. So when I was doing that one, I thought, well, that makes such a good round circle. What happens to the middle if we can make it like the outside and make it into a wreath? So the first one was the Christmas wreath, and that's what's pictured on the pattern. And somehow the Christmas wreath never got in the car.
Oh.
So this is the Patriot. But you can do it for any
sure.
season by just
Yeah,
changing.
yeah.
And what I was always planning to do was do one in fall colors.
Sure.
And then do a Christmas one and quilt them together. So you just flip it over.
Smart. Right.
So you can hang it longer.
Clever.
Then this one is called Bailey's Illusion. And this little one down
Out of
here
the way for her.
is the, this was my practice piece to see if I could figure out how to do these without just doing a bunch of half square triangles. And so that was the practice one, and then this was the,
That is beautiful.
It's
there was
one
a
of my
couple of
favorites.
these that were in the retreat this weekend. So again, watch to the end, and we'll have some pictures
yeah.
of this. Yeah, Becky's just
Becky's.
gorgeous. Yeah.
The trick with this one, though, and I haven't figured out a good way to do it, is it's very easy. It's very easy to do, but you do have to read the instructions, and you do have to be able to see the difference between this block and this block.
Yes. Yes, because I watched when Becky was doing it, she had her blocks mixed up, but your pattern was right.
Yes.
It's that same thing. Pay attention because it was right, and she was just, oh, I got this, and sewing on, and not realizing that there are two different blocks going two different directions, right?
This one is called Foursquare, and it has been written for multiple sizes. It's been quilted, it's been tested, it's just waiting to get on the site. But it is going to be available in this next few times. The thing that I discovered about this after I made it, and I don't know whether you'll be able to see it on the camera or not, this one, the inspiration came from this fabric. When we got it in, I bought the backing first. I really liked that. This is all batik. And so then I picked the colors that matched the back and designed the pattern around it. But in doing that, I have a yellow here and a green here that are really light tone. And if you step back, you see there's a flower here and a flower here if you make these two the same. And it really popped out. And I didn't see it until after I had put it together.
Awesome.
So this one is a coming soon. This one's been made for a long time.
Yes, because that's also what this one is, right?
Yes, that's the light version of it. Super scrappy, easy to do. I did it totally out of my scraps except for the background. And then we did it in a light, creamy background with pinks. Again, stash buster. Whoops. In the very
Beautiful.
critical.
Really pretty.
And I'm right now writing increased sizes for that one because I originally just wrote it for this size.
Very nice. All right, what we've decided to do is we're going to stop here with showing all of Carolyn's quilts and talking about her patterns. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a separate, we're going to stay here for a moment and we're going to go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, 4. She has 5 patterns where she's done the quilts, she's working on the patterns, getting them done. But what we're going to do is we're going to do it as a separate video. The reason we're going to do it as a separate video is because I guarantee you're going to go, wait, what was that name? Wait, I can't find that. We're just not going to even put you through it. These are all of these great ones that you can choose from right now. All of these patterns are available. And again, you can get them at fabricpatch.net or you can go right to Carolynsinstitches. And then watch, because coming soon we will release the video with these next 5, and then same thing, you'll be able to see those on her Etsy site or on our website. So we hope you've enjoyed our little trunk show. We have just had so much fun with Carolyn being here for the weekend. It's been so good. And again, she is coming back next year. So I think she's giving everybody the chance to re-sign up, and then we think that there might be some spots available. So be sure and contact one of us about that, and you can come and take a class with Carolyn. So Carolyn, thank you so much.
Thanks. It was fun.
Thank you for watching our video. We invite you to leave a comment, hit the like button, or better yet, subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. You can also visit our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or Pinterest pages, or find all of those things and our online store at fabricpatch.net.